Hey, what's up guys? My name is Danny and today I'm going to be upgrading the speakers on my truck. I have a 2016 Chevrolet Silverado 1500. As many of you guys know, the speakers on this truck aren't the best. Chevrolet went real cheap on these speakers. So I wanted to upgrade the speakers and keep the factory head unit, so this is what I came up with. So guys, for my front speakers I went with the Kicker. They're the model KSS670. They're 6 3/4 component speakers. So for my rear speakers, I went with the Kicker KSC670. They're also 6 3/4 speakers, but these are coaxial. Since I wanted to keep the factory head unit, but I also wanted my new speakers to sound nice and clear, I went with the Alpine Power Pack. The model is the KTP445U. It is a universal amplifier. It has 4 channels at 45 watts. Since I bought my speakers through Crutchfield, they provided free brackets as well as harnesses. The speaker harnesses are made by American International. They're model SH3802. The Scosche are designed for the rear. They're model SAGMHR-634. The Metra are designed for the front. Those are model 82-3005. Here are some basic tools you might need: speaker wire, wire stripper, diagonal cutting pliers, crimping stripping tool, quick splice wire connectors, electrical tape, zip ties, closed-end connectors, a socket set, and an electrical drill, which might come in handy. So in order to prevent shorting out any circuits, we're going to disconnect the battery. So now I'm using an 11mm socket to remove the terminal. So I'm going to start by replacing the rear speakers, and I'm going to remove this cap behind the door handle. After that, I have to remove this cap. Now I'm going to remove the bolts holding down the door panel. I am now removing the door handle clip. Now you have to remove this wiring harness. Now it's time to remove this screw. So now your speaker you can just grab and remove. And here's your factory harness that you'll be plugging into. So now we clip on our speaker harness. So I mounted my speaker to the adapter, but since I'm using 6 3/4 speakers, I had to remove these clips. Connect the speaker to the harness. We're going to install a speaker into the door panel. Install the screw and tighten it. So I started the screw by hand, and I'm going to finish it with my drill. Now it's time to put everything back together. now we're going to start on the front door, and we're going to start by removing this trimming. The last screw is going to be located in this channel. Since I'm installing component speakers, I'm going to put the control module by the fuse compartment. So I removed these grommets and I inserted some zip ties so that I can weave the speaker wires through. After installing the speaker, reassemble the door panel. Unfortunately, I didn't notice that my memory card was full on my camera, so here's a copy of the instructions on removing the dash speakers so you can grab a screenshot. Now I'm removing the 8-post pillar so I can install my tweeter. So here's where I installed my tweeter. The location of the tweeter is going to vary. You just got to make sure you have enough backspace. Now let's install the amp. We're going to get started by removing the stereo in order to gain access to the wiring harness. After you take the plastic trimming off, you're going to have 4 7mm screws holding it together. So you're going to have a couple of harnesses, but the ones for your radio and for your speakers is going to be this green one. Press the clip and pull out. That's it. So Alpine, who's the manufacturer, suggests to tap into the harness 4 inches away from the head unit plug. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this piece of tape which is holding this harness there and probably replace it with a zip tie, and I'm going to trim this back and tap in about a hand length, which is on average 4 inches. So if you undo the rest of these harnesses, this unit slides out So before I tap into my harness, I need to figure out where I'm going to mount my amplifier. I did notice that there's a compartment right behind the stereo with a whole bunch of space. So what I did is I removed that back flap, which I've done previously because I was installing my tweeters. And in order to get into it, there are a couple of torque screws. So the torque screws are here. They're a T15. It's right next to the temperature sensor, as well as over here. So now you can see your amp can slide right in. So I cut the harness off that tape and I exposed the wires, and I think I'm probably about like 4 or 5 inches out. If you're not connecting via RCA, you can go ahead and clip them. Just make sure to change the settings on the amplifier. Here are the wiring schematics for a 2014 to 17 Chevrolet Silverado 1500 without a Bose System or a factory amplifier. Alright guys, so here's all my wiring. Here's the wiring harness that connects to the head unit. I had to extend the wires so I could run my amp to the back. So I used some speaker wire. My amp is loaded back there, and if it's snug and it's secure with that zip tie, you can see it right here. So for the grounding wire on the amplifier harness, there's a grounding screw located over here, and this is where I grounded my amplifier. Alright guys, so I just finished my install, so here's a quick sound test.